옛부처가 나기 전에 누가 우주의 주인공인고 고요하고 고요의 그 체성은 평안한지라. 온 세계가 한 집이요 유정 무정 모든 만물이 한 몸이다. 고불미생시 수주 요요 적적 최평안 대천세계 공일가 정여무정 동일체. 여러분은 주인공을 아시겠습니까? 주인공은 만물의 근본이요 일체 중생의 마음자리입니다. 근본자리는 비어 고요함이나 분명하고 분명한 자리입니다. 망령된 생각을 내려놓으면 그 자리가 본래 마음자리이며 참모습인 것입니다. 미혹하면 중생이요 밝으면 부처이기에 범부와 성인이 둘이 아니며 그대로 광명이요 생명이요 평화요 자유입니다. 그러니 누구든 참나를 깨달으면 행복과 지혜를 누릴 수 있습니다. 마음이 곧 부처요 사람이 부처라고 합니다. 이렇게 사람이 부처임을 깨달아 상생하는 삶을 만드는 일이 서원입니다. 옛 성인이 말하기를 가는 곳마다 주인 되면 서 있는 자리가 진리라고 했습니다. 안회에 미혹할 때는 고해에 사바세계가 있으나 참나를 깨달으면 시방이 공하여 고통스러운 현실에서 곧 해탈 열반의 삶을 실현하는 지름길이 되는 것입니다. 부처께서는 자비의 원력으로 중생을 위해 겨자씨만한 땅에도 피를 흘리지 않은 곳이 없다고 하셨으니 중생이 아프니 나도 아프다는 유마거사의 말씀이 장군 죽비가 되어야 합니다. 모든 잘못을 남의 탓으로 돌리고 나 혼자만 잘되면 된다는 사회풍조 속에서 인격 도야의 실천행이 절실합니다. 그러면 이렇게 참나를 깨달아 행복과 지혜를 얻고자 하면 어떤 자세를 갖추어야 하는지 말씀드리겠습니다. 첫째, 보시로 복과 덕을 쌓아야 하며 둘째, 지게로 청정하고 성실하게 보맹을 단속해야 하며 셋째, 인욕으로 마음에 일어나는 분별심을 이겨내 장애를 걷어내는 것이요 넷째, 정진으로 일체처 일체시에 화두를 참고해 중생의 미혹한 마음을 닦는 것이요 다섯째, 선정으로 마음을 닦아 두려움을 없애 참된 평화를 얻는 것이요 여섯째, 지혜로 일체를 알아 무해자재한 삶을 누리는 것입니다. 육바람이 일를 통해 지극한 마음으로 금쪽같이 받아 행하시면 필경 진리를 깨달으며 대중과 화합하게 될 것입니다. Happy continuation. Here, Sariputra, our Dhamma are marked with emptiness. They are neither produced nor destroyed. Dhammas here mean things. A human being is a Dhamma. Tree is Dhamma. Cloud is Dhamma. Sunshine is Dhamma. So when we say our Dhammas are marked with emptiness, we are saying everything has emptiness as its own nature. Every day in our life we see birth and we see death. When a person is born, a birth certificate is printed. After they die, a death certificate is made. These certificates confirm the existence of birth and death. But Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva said, no, there is no birth, no death. We have to look more deeply in order to see whether his statement is true. What is the date on which you were born, your birth date? Before that date, did you already exist? Were you already there? Let me help you. To be born means from nothing you become something. My question is, before you were born, were you already there? Suppose a hen is about to lay an egg. Before she gives birth, do you think the egg is already there? Yes, it is inside. You also were inside before you were outside. That means that before you were born, you already existed inside your mother. The fact is that if something is already there, it does not need to be born. To be born means from nothing you become something. If you are already something, what is the use of being born? So your so-called birthday is really your continuation day. The next time you celebrate, you can say Happy Continuation Day. I think that we may have a better concept of when we were born. If we go back 9 months to the time of our conception, we have a better date to put on our birth certificates. In China and also in Vietnam, when you are born, you are already considered 1 year old. Question remains, before even that date, did you exist or not? If you say yes, I think you are correct. Before your conception, you were there already, maybe half in your father, half in your mother. Because from nothing, we can never become something. Can you name one thing that was once a nothing? This is not just the case with birth. Nothing can be born, and also nothing can die. That is what Avalokita said. Do you think that a cloud can die? To die means that from something you become nothing. Do you think that we can make something or nothing? Let us go back to our sheet of paper. We may have the illusion that to destroy it, all we have to do is light a match and burn it up. But if we burn a sheet of paper, some of it will become smoke, and the smoke will rise and continue to be. The heat that is caused by the burning paper will enter into the cosmos and penetrate other things, because the heat is the next life of the paper. The ash that is formed will become part of the soil and the sheet of paper in his next life. Might be a cloud and rose at the same time. We have to be very careful and attentive in order to realize that this sheet of paper has never been born and it will never die. It can take on other forms of being, but we are not capable of transforming a sheet of paper into nothingness. Everything is like that, even you and I. We are not subject to birth and death. A Zen master might give a student a subject of meditation like, what was your face before your parents were born? This is an invitation to go on a journey in order to recognize yourself. If you do well, you can see your former lives as well as your future lives. Please remember that we are not talking about philosophy. We are talking about reality. Look at your hand and ask yourself, since when has my hand been around? I see many generations of ancestors in there, not just in the past, but in the present moment still alive. I am only the continuation. I have never died once. If I had died even once, how could my hand still be here? The French scientist Lavoisier said, "Nothing is created and nothing is destroyed." This is exactly the same as in the nhat sutra. Even the best contemporary scientist cannot reduce something as small as a peck of dust or an electron to nothingness. One form of energy can only become another form of energy. Usually we say humans come from dust and we are going back to dust. We don't want to return to dust. There is a discrimination here that humans are very valuable and that dust has no value at all. But scientists do not even know what a speck of dust is. It is still a mystery. Imagine one atom of the speck of dust with electron traveling around its nucleus at 180,000 miles per second. It is very exciting. To return to a speck of dust will be quite an exciting adventure. Sometimes we have the impression that we understand what a speck of dust is. We even pretend that we understand a human being who we say is going to return to dust. Because we live with a person for 20 or 30 years, we have the impression that we know everything about him or her. So, while driving in the car with that person sitting right next to us, we think about other things. We aren't interested in him anymore. What arrogance! The person sitting there beside us is really mystery. We only have the impression that we know her, but we don't know anything yet. If we look with the eyes of Avalokita, we will see that even one hair of that person is the entire cosmos. One hair on his head can be a door opening to the ultimate reality. One speck of dust can be the kingdom of heaven. When you see that the speck of dust and all things enter, you will understand that this is so. We must be humble. To say you don't know is the beginning of knowing. One autumn day I was in a park, absorbed in the contemplation of a very small but beautiful leaf in the shape of the heart. Its color was almost red and it was barely hanging on the branch, nearly ready to fall down. I spent a long time with it and I asked the leaf a lot of questions. I found out the leaf had been a mother to the tree. Usually we think that the tree is the mother and the leaves are just the children. But as I looked at the leaf, I saw that the leaf is also a mother to the tree. The sap that the roots take up is only water and minerals, not good enough to nourish the tree, so the tree distributes that sap to the leaves, and the leaves take the responsibility of transforming that rough sap into elaborated sap, and with the help of the sun and gas, sending it back in order to nourish the tree. Therefore, the leaves are also the mother to the tree. And since the leaf is linked to the tree by a stem, the communication between them is easy to see. We do not have a stem linking us to our mother anymore. But when we were in her womb, we had a very long stem, an umbilical cord. The oxygen and the nourishment we needed came to us through that stem. Unfortunately, on the day that we call our birthday, it was cut off and we received the illusion that we are independent. That is a mistake. We continue to rely on our mother for a long time, and we have several other mothers as well. The earth is our mother. We have a great many stems linking us to our Mother Earth. There is a stem linking us with the cloud. If there is no cloud, there is no water for us to drink. We are made of at least 70% water, and the stem between the cloud and us is there. This is also the case with the river, the forest, the logger, and the farmer. There are hundreds of stems linking us to everything in the cosmos, and therefore we can be. Do you see the link between you and me? If you are not there, I am not here. That is certain. If you do not see it yet, look more deeply, and I am sure you will see. Roses and garbage, neither defiled nor immaculate. Defiled or immaculate, dirty or pure. These are concepts we form in our mind. A beautiful rose we have just cut and placed in our vase is immaculate. It smells good, pure, fresh. It supports the idea of immaculateness. The opposite is a garbage can. It smells horrible and it is filled with rotten things. But that is only when you look on the surface. If you look more deeply, you will see that in just 5 or 6 days, the rose will become part of the garbage. You do not need to wait 5 days to see it. If you just look at the rose and you look deeply, you can see it now. And if you look into the garbage can, you can see that in a few months, its contents can be transformed into lovely vegetables and even a rose. If you are a good organic gardener and you have the eyes of a bodhisattva looking at a rose, you can see the garbage, and looking at the garbage, you can see a rose. Rose and garbage inter-are. Without a rose, we cannot have garbage. And without a garbage, we cannot have a rose. In the Majjhima Nikaya, there is a very short passage on how the world has come to be. It is very simple, very easy to understand, and yet very deep. This is because that is. This is not because that is not. This is like this, because that is like that. This is the Buddhist teaching of Genesis. In the city of Manila, there were many young prostitutes, some of them only 14 or 15 years old. They are very unhappy young ladies. They did not want to be prostitutes. Their families look for some kind of job, like a street vendor, to make money to send back to their families. Of course, this is not true only in Manila, but in Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam, in New York City, and in Paris also. It is true that in the city you can make money more easily than in the countryside. So we can imagine how a young girl may have been tempted to go there to help her family. But after only a few weeks there, she was persuaded by a clever person to work for her and to earn perhaps 100 times more money. Because she was so young and did not know much about life, she accepted and became a prostitute. Since that time, she had carried a feeling of being impure, defiled, and this causes her great suffering. When she looks at other young girls belonging to good families, a wretched feeling wells up in her, and this feeling of defilement has become a hell. But if she had an opportunity to meet with Avalokita, he would tell her to look deeply at herself and at the whole situation and see that she is like this because other people are like that. This is like this because that is like that. So how can a so-called good girl belonging to a good family be proud? Because their way of life is like this, the other girl has to be like that. No one among us has clean hands. No one of us can claim it is not our responsibility. The girl in Manila is that way because of the way we are. Looking into the life of that young prostitute, we see the non-prostitute people. And looking at the non-prostitute people and at the way we live our lives, we see the prostitute. This helps to create that, and that helps to create this. Let us look at wealth and poverty. The affluent society and the society deprived of everything inter. The wealth of one society is made of the poverty of the other. This is like this because that is like that. Wealth is made of non-wealth elements, and poverty is made by non-poverty elements. It is exactly the same as with the sheet of paper. So we must be careful. We should not imprison ourselves in concepts. The truth is that everything is everything else. We can only be. We cannot just be. And we are responsible for everything that happens around us. Avalokitesvara will tell the young prostitute, "My child, look at yourself and you will see everything. Because other people are like that, you are like this. You are not the only person responsible, so please do not suffer." Only by seeing with the eyes of the interbeing can that young girl be freed from her suffering. What else can you offer her to help her be free? We are imprisoned by our ideas of good and bad. We want to be only good, and we want to remove all evil. But that is because we forget that good is made of non-good elements. Suppose I am holding a lovely branch. When we look at it with a non-discriminative mind, we see this wonderful branch. But as soon as we distinguish that one end is the left and the other end is the right, we get into trouble. We may say we want only the left and we do not want the right, as you hear very often. And there is trouble right away. If the rightist is not there, how can you be a leftist? Let us say that I do not want the right end of the branch. I only want the left. So I break off half of this reality and throw it away. But as soon as I throw the unwanted half away, the end that remains becomes right. Because as soon as the left is there, the right must be there also. I may become frustrated and do it again. I break what remains of my branch in half and still I have the right end here. The same may be applied to good and evil. You cannot be good alone. You cannot hope to remove evil, because thanks to evil, good exists, and vice versa. When you stage a play concerning a hero, you have to provide an antagonist in order for the hero to be a hero. So Buddha needs Mara to take the evil role, so Buddha can be a Buddha. Buddha is as empty as the sheet of paper. Buddha is made of non-Buddha elements. If non-Buddha like us are not here, how can a Buddha be? If the rightist is not there, how can we call someone a leftist? In my tradition, every time I join my palms together to make a deep bow to a Buddha, I chant this short verse. The one who bows and pays respect, and the one who receives the bow and the respect, both of us are empty. That is why the communion is perfect. It is not arrogant to say so. If I am not empty, how can I bow down to a Buddha? And if the Buddha is not empty, how can he receive my bow? The Buddha and I inter. Buddha is made of non-Buddha elements, like me, and I am made of non-me elements, like the Buddha. We are not separate. We are inextricably interrelated. The rose is the garbage, and the non-prostitute is the prostitute. The rich man is the very poor woman, and the Buddhist is the non-Buddhist. The non-Buddhist cannot help but be a Buddhist because we are interrelated. The emancipation of the young prostitute will come as she sees into the nature of interbeing. She will know that she is bearing the fruit of the whole world. And if we look into ourselves and see her, we bear her pain and the pain of the whole world. The moon is always the moon, neither increasing nor decreasing. We worry because we think that after we die, we will not be human being anymore. We will go back to being a speck of dust. In other words, we are decreasing. But that is not true. A speck of dust contains the whole universe. If we were as big as the sun, we might look down at the earth and see it as insignificant. As human beings, we look at dust in the same way. But the idea of big and small are just concepts in our mind. Everything contains everything else. That is the principle of interpenetration. This sheet of paper contains the sunshine, the logger, the forest, everything. So the idea that a sheet of paper is small is just an idea. We cannot destroy even one sheet of paper. We are incapable of destroying anything. When they assassinated Mahatma Gandhi or Martin Luther King Jr., they hoped to reduce them into nothingness. But these people continue to be with us, perhaps even more than before, because they continue in other forms. We continue their being. So let us not be afraid of decreasing. It is like the moon. We see the moon increasing and decreasing, but it is always the moon. Buddha is made of non-Buddha elements. Therefore, in emptiness there is neither form, nor feelings, nor perceptions, nor mental formations, nor consciousness. No eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch, no object of mind. No realm of elements, no interdependent origins, and no extinction of them. No suffering, no origination of suffering, no extinction of suffering, no path. No understanding, no attainment. This sentence begins with the confirmation that 5 skandhas are all empty. They cannot exist by themselves. Each one has to interbe with all the other skandhas. The next part of the sentence is an enumeration of the 18 realm of elements, dhatus. First we have the 6 sense organs, eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind. Then there are the 6 sense objects, form, sound, smell, taste, touch, and object of mind. Form is the object of eyes, sound is the object of ears, and so on. Finally, the contact between these first 12 brings about the 6 consciousnesses, sight, hearing, and the last is mind consciousness. So, with the eyes as the first realm of elements, and mind consciousness as the 18th, this part of sutra is saying that not one of these realms can exist by itself, because each can only interbe with every other realm. The next part speaks of the 12 interdependent origins. Pratitya Samutpada, which begin with ignorance and end with old age and death. The meaning in the sutra is that none of these 12 can exist by itself. It can only rely on the being of the others in order for it to be. Therefore, all of them are empty, and because they are empty, they really exist. The same principle applies to the Four Noble Truths. The last item on the list is no understanding, no attainment. Understanding, prajna, is the essence of the Buddha. No understanding means understanding has no separate existence. Understanding is made of non-understanding elements, just as Buddha is made of non-Buddha elements. I want to tell you a story about Buddha and Mara. One day the Buddha was in his cave when Ananda, who was the Buddha's assistant, was standing outside near the door. Suddenly Ananda saw Mara coming. He was surprised. He didn't want that, and he wished Mara would get away. But Mara walked to Ananda and asked him to announce his visit. Ananda said, "Why have you come here? Don't you remember that in olden times you were defeated by the Buddha under the Bodhi tree? Aren't you ashamed to come here? Go away. The Buddha will not see you." When Mara heard this, he began to laugh and laugh. "Did you say that your teacher told you that he has enemies?" That made Ananda very embarrassed. He knew that his teacher had not said that he has enemies. So Ananda was defeated and had to go in and announce the visit. Buddha was very excited when he heard that Mara had come to visit him. "Wow, is he here?" the Buddha said, and he went out to greet Mara. Ananda was very distressed. The Buddha went right up to Mara, bowed to him, and took his hands in the warmest way. "Hello, how are you? How have you been?" Mara didn't say anything, so the Buddha brought him into the cave, prepared a seat for him to sit down, and told Ananda to go and make herb tea. "I can make tea for my master 100 times a day, but making tea for Mara is not a joy," Ananda thought to himself. But since this was the order of his master, how could he refuse? So Ananda went to prepare some herb tea for the Buddha and his so-called guest. But while doing this, he tries to listen to their conversation. The Buddha repeated very warmly, "How have you been?" Mara said, "Things are not good, not going well at all. I am tired of being a Mara." Ananda became very frightened. Mara said, "You know, being a Mara is not a very easy thing to do. If you talk, you have to talk in riddles. If you do anything, you have to be quick, tricky, and look evil. I'm very tired of all that. But what I cannot bear is my disciples. They are now talking about social justice, peace, equality, liberation, non-duality, non-violence, all of that. I have had enough of it. I think that it would be better if I hand them all over to you. I want to be something else." Ananda began to shudder because he was afraid that the master would decide to take the whole role. Mara would become the Buddha, and the Buddha would become Mara. It made him very sad. The Buddha listened and was filled with compassion. Finally, he said in a quiet voice, "Do you think it's fun being a Buddha? You don't know what my disciples have done to me. They put words into my mouth that I never said. They build garish temples and put statues of me on altars in order to attract bananas and oranges and sweet rice just for themselves. And they package me and make my teaching into an item of commerce. Mara, if you knew what it is really like to be a Buddha, I am sure you wouldn't want to be one." And thereupon the Buddha recited the wrong verse, summarizing the conversation. Freedom. Because there is no attainment, the Bodhisattva, supported by the perfection of understanding, find no obstacles for their minds, Having no obstacles, they overcome fear, liberating themselves forever from illusion, and realizing perfect nirvana. All Buddhas in the past, present, and future, thanks to this perfect understanding, arrive at full, right, and universal enlightenment. These obstacles are our ideas and concepts concerning birth and death, defilement, immaculateness, increasing, decreasing, above, below, inside, outside, Buddha, Mara, and so on. Once we see with the eyes of interbeing, these obstacles are removed from our mind and we overcome fear, liberating ourselves forever from illusion and realizing perfect nirvana. Once the wave realizes that it is only water, that it is nothing but water, it realizes that birth and death cannot do it any harm. It has transcended all kind of fear, and perfect nirvana is the state of non-fear. You are liberated, you are no longer subject to birth and death, defilement and immaculateness. You are free from all that. Sivaha. Therefore, one should know that perfect understanding is a great mantra, is the highest mantra, is the unequaled mantra, the destroyer of all the suffering, the incorruptible truth. This is the mantra, Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva. A mantra is something that you utter when your body, your mind, and your breath are at one in deep concentration. When you dwell in that deep concentration, you look into things and see them as clearly as you see an orange that you hold in the palm of your hand. Looking deeply into the five skandhas, Avalokitesvara saw the nature of interbeing and overcame all pain. He became completely liberated. It was in that state of deep concentration, of joy, of liberation, that he uttered something important. That is why his utterance is a mantra. When two young people love each other, but the young man has not said so yet, the young lady may be waiting for three very important words. If the young man is a very responsible person, he probably wants to be sure of his feeling, and he may wait a long time before saying it. Then one day, sitting together in the park, when no one else is nearby, after the two of them have been silent for a long time, he utters these three words. When the young lady hears this, she trembles because it is such an important statement. When you say something like that with your whole being, it can transform the world. The statement that has such power of transformation is called a mantra. Avalokitesvara's mantra is Gate Gate Paragate Parasangate Bodhisattva. Gate means gone. Come from suffering to the liberation of suffering. Come from forgetfulness to mindfulness. Come from duality into non-duality. Gate Gate means gone, gone. Paragate means gone all the way to the other shore. So this mantra is said in a very strong way. Gone, gone, gone all the way over. In Parasangate, some means everyone. The Sangha, the entire community of beings. Everyone gone over to the other shore. Body is the light inside. Enlightenment. You see it and the vision of reality liberates you. And Svaha is a cry of joy or excitement, like welcome or hallelujah. Gone, gone, gone all the way over. Everyone gone to the other shore, enlightenment, Svaha. That is what the Bodhisattva uttered. When we listen to this mantra, we should bring ourselves into the state of attention, of concentration, so that we can receive the strength emanated by Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. There are three kinds of gifts. The first is the gift of material resources. The second is the gift of know-how, the gift of Dharma. The third, the highest kind of gift, is the gift of non-fear. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is someone who can help us liberate ourselves from fear. This is the heart of the Prajnaparamita. The Prajnaparamita gives us solid ground for making peace with ourselves, for transcending the fear of birth and death, the duality of this and that. In the light of emptiness, everything is everything else. Everyone is responsible for everything that happens in life. When you produce peace and happiness in yourself, you begin to realize peace for the whole world. With the smile that you produce in yourself, with the consciousness, with the conscious breathing you establish within yourself, you begin to work for peace in the world. To smile is not to smile only for yourself. The world will change because of your smile. When you practice sitting meditation, if you enjoy even one moment of your sitting, if you establish serenity and happiness inside yourself, you provide the world with a solid base of peace. If you do not give yourself peace, how can you share it with others? If you do not begin your peace work with yourself, where will you go to begin it? To sit, to smile, to look at earth, look at things and really see them. These are the bases of peace work. Yesterday in our retreat, we had a tangerine party. Everyone was offered one tangerine. We put the tangerine on the palm of our hand and looked at it, breathing in a way that the tangerine became real. Most of the time when we eat a tangerine, we do not look at it. We think about many other things. To look at a tangerine is to see the blossom forming into fruits, to see the sunshine and the rain. Mindfully, we peeled our tangerine and smelled its fragrance. We carefully took each section of the tangerine and put it on our tongue, and we could feel that it was a real tangerine. We ate each section of the tangerine in perfect mindfulness. In Buddhist meditation, we do not struggle for the kind of enlightenment that will happen 10 years from now. We practice so that each moment of our life becomes real life. And therefore, when we meditate, we sit for sitting. We don't sit for something else. If we sit for 20 minutes, these 20 minutes should bring us joy, life. If we practice walking meditation, we walk just for walking, not to arrive. We have to be alive with each step, and if we are, each step brings real life back to us. The same kind of mindfulness can be practiced when we eat breakfast or when we hold a child in our arms. Hugging is a Western custom, but we from the East would like to contribute the practice of conscious breathing to it. When you hold a child in your arms, or your husband or your friend, breathe in and out 3 times and your happiness will be multiplied by at least tenfold. And when you look at someone, really look at them with mindfulness and practice conscious breathing. Each breath we take, each step we make, each smile we realize is a positive contribution to peace, a necessary step in the direction of peace for the world. In the light of interbeing, peace and happiness in your daily life means peace and happiness in the world. Thank you for being so attentive. Thank you for listening to Avalokiteshvara. Because you are there, the sutra has become very easy.